Hello nerds and welcome to Into the Wild, your favourite wildlife and conservation podcast where we look at all things, well, wildlife and conservation.
This is a podcast of curiosity where we know we don't have all the answers.
Oh, that's my co-host Nadia, by the way.
Hi. But it doesn't really matter because we're here to learn and crucially listen to those who are affected by and closest to the issues that we as conservationists tend to pick over from our comfy living rooms.
So strap yourselves in, open up your luggles, grab a brew and join us as we geek out over nature, share our love for wildlife, rarely take ourselves seriously, all whilst learning. Oh, and we sometimes swear. Hello nerds, welcome to Into the Wild. It is Ryan here and Ryan only. I'm on my Todd. No co-host this week, it's just Ryan. Nadia is not here because it is her birthday. So obviously I ain't going to pull her away from her celebrations, her resting time, whatever Nadia's choosing to do, I'm not going to take away from that. It is just myself. But obviously that does mean it is not nature news this week because I ain't going to sit here and do a whole 40 minutes just my voice. You don't want to hear that. Instead, I've prepared a bonus episode for you to replace Nature News, and then Nature News will be back next week. But before we get on to the bonus episode, I am still going to share my nature highlight with you, actually, if that's all right. My nature... We should do the sting, really, shouldn't we? Let's do the sting. Even though Nadia's not here, I'm going to do it properly. All right, here we go. Let's go into nature highlight now. There we go. It's so weird doing this. Do you know, it's been like 2.5 years since I've done this on my own, and it's so weird talking into a microphone with no one talking back. It's so odd. Right, my nature highlight. Do you know what? I'm actually glad Nadia's not here because I think she wouldn't take the piss out of this one. I don't think she would. It's a bit basic again. But I don't know about you lot, but this autumn I'm really appreciating the basic things, whether it's the colour of the leaves, just that feeling of autumn, like that damp, colder morning, which is still a little bit dark, but then it gets a little bit mild during the day. I really like stuff like that. But this nature highlight is to do with the sky. I just really enjoyed the sunset, if I'm honest, lads. I really enjoyed it. It was that real pink and peach coloured sky. And I was walking back from Highgate Tube back home, and I just kind of like, there was you know when there's a noise behind you and you think that wasn't, you know, I can't remember what it was, but something like got my attention, even though I knew it weren't for me. But I did that thing where I thought, I'm still going to turn around. And I turned around, and then as I did, I just saw this gorgeous sky that was just singing. And I was like, damn. And do you know what was even more lovely? Is that I took a picture of it. Of course I did. I'm a millennial, and you got to take pictures of things, otherwise it didn't happen. And then I went on WhatsApp, and I saw a notification from my neighbourhood WhatsApp group chat, and 2 people had already shared pictures of it. And I thought, that's nice, isn't it? It weren't just me. Everyone was appreciating it. So that was my nature highlight. What was yours? If you guys ever have a banging nature highlight, or just a basic one, you've heard Nadia and I share some basic highlights recently, feel free to get in touch. You can send them to intothewildpod@gmail.com, or you can DM us on social media at intothewildpod on Instagram. Let us know what your nature highlight has been that week or recently, and we'll read it out on the show and share it with the world so everyone knows that there's loads of other people out there enjoying nature close to their hearts. Right, on to this week's bonus episode to replace Nature News while Nadia is away celebrating her birthday. This is a recording that we did way back in July. God, that seems a lifetime ago. It was a Global Birdfair, of course it was, 2025. If you lot have not been to Global Birdfair before, I really encourage you to do so. Check it out in 2026, whether you go for the day, couple of days, or the full weekend. There's great camping availability there. You can either take your own tent. They've got teepees there. There's great shows going on. Of course, we will be there doing live shows. We do a live Nature Room 101 and live podcast round the table discussions like this one coming up. So this one was recorded on the Wind Chat stage, which is the podcast stage at Global Birdfair, and it was about communicating conservation, a really broad topic, but a really important one as well. We looked at how that kind of communicating conservation has changed over the years, from back in the old kind of Steve Irwin days or Steve Backshall when he was just on the Deadly 60, all the way through to the David Attenborough years and all those documentaries to now where social media has boomed and loads of people are taking that rightful step to the stage to share their love with wildlife. How that's changed, what methods do we need more of, and what we hope for the future in conservation communication. We were joined by Ajay Tegala and Ezz Miles, two wonderful communicators. If you're not following them on social media, you should be doing that right now. Their links are in the write-up of this episode, so go check them out. They're wonderful communicators doing excellent work, and you should really be aware of who these people are. So just before I open up this episode, I want to remind you all that we would love it if you would give Into the Wild a review on whatever platform you're listening to, whether it's Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or any other platform that allows you to give reviews. Please go on there and give us some nice stars and some lovely words if that's possible. And we say it quite often, but you know what, nerds? We want Into the Wild to always be a free and accessible show, but it really does cost us money to run this thing. So if you ever have like £3, or if you think I can afford £3 a month, then you can go over to kofi.com/intothewildpod. You can either make a one-off donation to the podcast, or you can set up a subscription starting from £3. All the money that we get in goes straight back into running the podcast, and it means the absolute world to us as well. So anyway, let's get on with this bonus episode of the Round the Table Chat, Conservation Communication at Global Birdfair with Ezz Miles and Ajay Tegala. Hello everyone, welcome to Into the Wild podcast, a podcast dedicated to wildlife conservation, nature, people and community. My name is Ryan Dalton, I'm one of the hosts, and behind me is Nadia Sheikh.
One of the other hosts.
The only other host.
Yep. No, that's right. That's
right,
me.
Just us two. We're here with all the other independent UK wildlife podcasts to do a podcast today, and with some guests. But before we move on, we were going to ask the audience a question. Do you remember when we sat over there? Matt from the Rock and Roll Birder podcast and George Cook, we had a question that's got nothing to do with nature, but we wondered if anyone had the answers to this because it's really bugging us. Does anyone know what sherbet is?
What is sherbet?
Does anyone know what sherbet actually is?
Nobody knows.
What is it? It's just citric acid. It's just citric acid, guys. Right, moving on. So...
Okay. Someone knew. That's wild.
It's just citric acid.
Look, the podcast can only go up from here. So this is why we start low.
This is what happens when I podcast before not having a pint before.
Okay.
I'm always better with 5 pints in. So, okay. Our podcast today, we're going to be talking about communicating conservation, which is quite a broad topic.
But this is why I think it's funny, because we're doing it.
Oh,
We're talking about the thing we're doing.
We're communicating about... Okay, yeah, we're in a mirror.
I feel like I'm in... what's that movie? Inception.
Yeah,
very confusing.
It is.
Anyway.
So we're going to be talking about... We've got two lovely guests in front of us. We have... You gave me a look going, no, you don't. You have one great guest, and I am also here. We've got the lovely Ezz Miles.
Hello.
Hi.
And... celebrate. And Ajay Tegala. Thank you so much for joining us. So, guys, Into the Wild's very loose in the way. We don't have set questions. We're just going to jump straight in. But I guess we'll start with a question. Because we should. So, Ez, I'm going to ask you first. Your opinions on this.
Oh.
How do you think communicating conservation, which is such a broad thing, but how do you think that has changed in the last 10 years, if at all?
I think it's more passion-led now, which I personally think is one of the most important things. If you're passionate about something, then, you know, that links everything together. It makes everybody, you know, come together. So I think it's changed quite a lot, because it's gone from maybe a certain few people now to quite a broad, you know, quite a large amount of different people. Think about, you know, all these Instagram people now as well, like me, like yourself, you know, we're communicating that way. Yeah, changed a heck of a lot, I think.
So that more like kind of that accessibility, it's not a one place thing. It's kind of turned into like anyone can kind of do it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Do you think that's this is going to sound a horrible sentence.
Dangerous.
Is that a risk?
Yeah.
But anyone can say any shit on
That's
Instagram.
very true.
Imagine if I just had free reign to talk about whatever I want.
But you do.
I know, and I shouldn't.
But it also means that people who maybe are really, really good communicators have that bit of a kind of leverage, and they can get out there and get their voice out there and get things changed for the things they're really, really passionate about, like this communicating nature, you know, really important stuff.
Are you aware of, this is a question for both of you, and we weren't going to have questions, but are you thinking about the people who are listening? Are you thinking about who you want to talk to? Maybe AJ, do you want to answer that? Like, do you have that in mind when you are communicating?
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay.
I think if you're going to say something, you need to say who you're saying it to. And in many cases, it is everybody. Because we need everybody to be involved. Because I think it's become more participatory now, hasn't it? So it's not about dictating, it's about getting people involved so that they can help make that difference with a sense of urgency. So it's, I'm thinking about them, and I'm also thinking I don't want to turn them off. And it's really hard because it's a serious, heavy topic, but it's about getting in at the right angle so that people just kind of connect and feel that sense of care and relate to it. So I try and, I mean, that's a hard thing to do sometimes.
It's so hard. Actually, we went through this with Namibia and doing the journey back to Namibia. It was such a sad topic, and I remember us when we were there, sat around the fire, talking to each other, going, I don't know how we're going to do this. Like we've got the content.
I wouldn't want to listen to a podcast for an hour which is talking about, God, a country that's been in drought for 12 years and all of the wildlife is gone. Like, how do we communicate this story? Like, how do we tell
But also, like, because we're just talking about our own show now, which is probably a bit arrogant, but like, it's like we kind of always put that funny spin on it, and it's, you know, that's hard to do.
It's one of the techniques. So humour's a technique.
Yeah.
What techniques do you think you employ then to make...
Good question. Ajay, what techniques do you use?
I think making it personal. So it's kind of like, well, this is how I feel. And if you talk about how you feel, then that's a very personal thing. And then people kind of relate to that and think, oh, yeah, I agree, or oh, I don't quite agree. Yeah. Or if there's that sort of emotion that they can connect to.
Yeah, that's okay. Cool. So making it personal. Ez, what about you?
I think probably making it digestible, so like easy things that everybody can connect to. So that personal touch, but also in that kind of, being able to easily connect, being able to understand what is happening in a way that everybody can kind of soak up and absorb, not just people who know about what's happening, you know?
Yeah.
Because ultimately, though, when we're communicating, like Ajay, you said earlier, this is like, you know, talking about conservation or like, you know, environmentalism or anything within that kind of bracket. We need everyone involved in that, and we all know that. But I see quite a lot in my circle of friends that aren't within the nature industry, how much it just doesn't come into their day. And I'm not talking just into their brain space, but I'm talking onto their algorithms, onto their TV screens. It just doesn't. And I sit there quite often. I use my mum and dad as an example of this quite a lot. My dad sent me a video today of a ladybird and said, this is the first ladybird I've seen this year. And I was like, that's lovely. But I went, what? How is that the only one? And I think, like, how are we not reaching these people? Because we are using the personal methods. We're using the digestible, especially for social media, quick videos, reels, pictures, whatever. How is it not reaching? And I think, is there something out of our control here as communicators that we actually can't be in control of that access? Rhetorical question.
I guess you need the right kind of, I suppose, all-round celebrities sometimes that are going to reach people that are not interested in nature, but they're interested in a certain person. And if this certain person that's their role model cares about something, like, for example, Mary Colwell making friends with David Gray, who now plays curlew calls at the start of all his concerts. So all these thousands of people that may not know what curlews are, they're being sort of gently enlightened on them. So that, I think, is really key, getting good ambassadors.
What would be your...
Oh, yeah, who would you pick?
Come on, what celebrity would you pick to influence to do that?
I know mine straight away, but I'm
But
going
we're
to...
not-
No, I'm going to
No,
hold
we're
back.
asking our guests.
Yeah, sorry, but
me.
I like to talk.
Go on, you go first.
Go on.
Ajay.
Although I've said that, I haven't really thought of anybody in particular.
No.
I'm trying to think who's the biggest name out there at the moment.
who
I
can
don't
you
know. I'm a
get?
bit
Yeah.
behind that.
I am so out of touch. I don't know who is the biggest name.
Oh, I've got a good
I
idea.
don't think anymore we have the biggest. I think we have big names constantly. Yeah, I think I know.
But what would be that dream partnership then?
Well, go on, Ez.
Go on.
I don't think this would be a dream partnership, but someone who's really out there and has been really out there in the last couple of years. Sounds ridiculous. Taylor Swift is everywhere this year. Going down that route. Imagine those
Her
stages.
name is literally a bird.
Exactly. You know.
Why isn't Taylor Swift promoting Swift
Swifts.
boxes?
It's just
She
ridiculous,
don't know what
isn't it?
Swift is.
Oh,
Does she know what a
she
Swift
should know
is?
though, shouldn't she?
No,
She probably
when you know how to get a private jet, you don't know what a Swift
Exactly.
is anymore. That's the thing.
Okay.
Imagine her being a turning point though. Imagine being able to change
But
that
yeah,
one
you're
person.
absolutely right.
Because
yeah.
they've got
You're talking
such
like
an
up to
image.
1 billion people that could be
imagine
aware.
I
that.
swear to God, if I could get Beyonce into bird
Oh,
watching,
stop it. That would
can
be
you
even
imagine?
better.
Our job's done. Like,
Okay,
that's
so we
it.
need
Okay.
Beyonce and Taylor Swift.
Okay.
This says
Go on,
I
what was
was gonna go Tom Holland.
Oh, yeah,
really?
great
I don't
one.
know why. He's just got a very good
Yeah.
Instagram presence. Yeah.
Okay.
And who doesn't want Spider-Man behind? And a Spider-Man.
Exactly. See, it's all the names.
He's earned a lot of money.
Got a Swift and a spider.
That was a live brainwave from Ryan.
And that's as deep as my brain goes.
And so I guess I think you're totally right about the personal. You know, as a species, we have empathy, right? Like our
Yeah.
ability to empathize is such a powerful experience, and when storytelling is all we've got, really, and it is, it is nice to be moved, or it's good to move people through. You can only really move people through personal stories. Are there people that have moved you that you can recall in that way, where you've just been, I guess, enchanted by the stories that they've told?
That's a good
That's
question.
a hard question,
That is
though,
a good
because I
question.
actually have really bad recall when I need to say names of people.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I
Because interestingly, I don't think that has happened to me.
It must
I
have done.
Okay, but yeah, I'm not gonna get really deep on this.
We're the
but I think,
Attenborough generation, right?
Yeah.
but I don't think it was.
not
I don't.
personal.
Yeah, I think. But that wasn't one person for me. That was. I'm sure it was a voice, but I don't think it was a person that kind of inspired me. I think the whole production of what that was certainly inspired me. I think someone like this is such a millennial answer,
Go on.
but I think obviously like Steve Irwin was very
Oh,
much what
yes.
I watched on
Steve
TV.
Irwin.
So that
Awesome
was something.
cracker.
That was on my MSN status for a long time. R.I.P. Steve Irwin. A long. It was.
Well, I know. Rest
Yeah.
in peace.
So he was someone that did, but actually, like going a bit deeper into that for me personally, and it's not someone that inspired me with nature and stuff. And I've said this on a couple of podcasts. Was my nan, because she was very in touch with a lot of that stuff. So I kind of followed what she was, I don't know, doing in the garden. I would ask questions and follow that. But that was, I think, if to define the word inspiration for me, I think that's actual one
Yeah,
person
yeah,
inspiring
yeah.
me.
Yeah.
Definitely. Was there any any people for you?
Anything comes to mind? for
I'm
you?
thinking school teachers.
Oh,
Yeah,
interesting.
because you say you're gran, and it's people
Yeah.
you're around, people you see when you're a child. If you're lucky enough, you've got an influential
Yeah.
family member
Yeah.
that can turn you on to nature. But otherwise, through school and through.
That's
through
amazing you had
teachers.
that in school though, because again like
Was that a maverick teacher, do you think, or was it on the curriculum?
Well, exactly.
Or
It's,
what
yeah,
was
that's
going
it. It's
on
not
there?
necessarily on the curriculum. It's somebody that's got that passion, and they made sure we've got a pond in the school grounds.
So it's a bit of luck that you
So
had that
yeah,
person.
it was luck.
Yeah.
But everybody needs that, really.
Well, that actually segues perfectly on what you said you wanted to talk about all this. So I'm going to let you naturally segue.
Is this going into education in
Yes,
schools?
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, something I'm so passionate about. So educating young people. Obviously, the natural history GCSE has been spoken about so much, and we're getting there. Obviously, there's been people here that have done such a huge amount to get that pushed through. But there's that delay, and there's still a delay, and we don't want that. We need it to happen now, where
Yeah,
people, like
okay.
you said, like I didn't have that connection in school. I didn't
No,
have
same.
anybody to kind of pull me towards that. Thankfully, my nan and granddad are gardeners. I was brought up on Beatrix Potter, and then went on to Steve Backshall. So it went from this lovely stories to these mad animals, and it brought everything together. But there needs to be that connection in schools, and it needs to happen soon, because we're at a critical point. We just need to get a move on now, and they need to get a move on, and we all know who I'm talking about when I say that.
Do you worry about, or do like the nature, the natural history GCSE, like how that's going to be told? And
yeah, because I think the way they were doing it is, they're getting other teachers from different areas to teach that, which is great because everybody needs to be involved with this. But also, it's there are people here like us, for example, who could go in, smash that passion through with those children.
I would love to write that curriculum. I would love.
Imagine.
What would you put on it? Hey, what would you put on that curriculum?
Got to get dirty first.
Yeah.
Get your hands dirty. Yeah.
It has to be practical based.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, actually, we said that on the show. We said we can't see this GCSE being a thing without.
Can you imagine
field
sitting
work.
in a classroom and being like,
oh my goodness,
learning natural
history?
No, but that's just the same as every other topic. It's just that's why people don't absorb it so easily.
Yeah,
you could learn about any topic.
I forgot all the Henry VIII's wives because I didn't do the murderings myself.
You haven't done enough pub quizzes either. You need to get back on that.
Okay, yeah.
No, that is I think interestingly like talking about like how I did this on yesterday's podcast. I'm going to look at Oscar here because do you remember when we were in Namibia? And no, actually you weren't there. This was the bit where I took the film back out. I went to Corokas and they were having a festival for the Black Rhino there. Nice. And they had all the school groups there who had their school uniform on with the Black Rhino on it. And they showed me their education books and even books not about the Black Rhino. They had a Black Rhino like as teaching aids in the book. So it is instilled in the children in the community from a very young age that these animals and wildlife is important. And I think as well as the education side, that's what we've not got in England, and this is going back to my point of going, how do we reach those that aren't necessarily being reached now? I think we're just not trying young enough.
No.
I think we need to really be talking about wildlife, whether it be swifts or whether it be about badgers or anything like that. They need to play a part. The Beatrix Potter is a perfect example of this, right? In kids' literature in the 80s and 90s was all woodland animals. I remember all the books I read at my nan's, even about fairy tales, but you'd have woodland animals there, so you were aware of them. It's just not a thing anymore.
No.
Now it's like,
there's a lot of made-up
underwear
stuff.
man or something like that.
It drives me mad, that does.
Underwear man? Are you joking?
Like David Walliams books and stuff like that. They're all weird.
Really?
Yeah, they're just like, I don't know, I'm like, just oversimplifying the point, but like, I don't, from my friends that have kids, I rarely see books for them now that are like, woodland, like English woodland or wildlife based.
Is it that bad? Do you think we?
I don't know. I mean, I'm not a dad. What do I know?
I don't know.
I don't know. Where do you think it needs to change? Because I said to you before we started, we're in a climate and biodiversity emergency. So what for you, Ajay, is the priority that communicators for conservation should be focusing on?
I think it's on the empowerment. It's on what you can do. Because we know there's a lot we need greater help with, but it's about what you can do in your own back garden, or if you don't have a back garden, local space. The little small acts you can do that add together so that people feel that sense of empowerment and yes, I'm making a difference by not using single-use plastic, for example. Yeah. That's a key one. Or creating habitat in my local space.
No, great. And what about you, Ez?
I agree, yeah, very much that. And also, like, getting out and joining those groups as well, having the opportunities to find those things and join them and find other people. Like, look at all of us, we're all friends in this sector because it's something we all share, we all enjoy, and somehow have managed to find each other. May I say, not that easily. Yeah, Instagram, but no child's going to have Instagram. There needs to be easy ways they can go, they can meet other people. I know an amazing young gentleman in the audience called Benjamin Fallows, and he is luckily, Nish, his mum, is kind of making that way through Instagram, but it's because she's making the effort to do that. Not all mums would be that on it, with getting their kids connected to other people. So it's joining those local groups, creating those local groups, and that's really important.
Yeah.
Building on community again.
It always comes to a grassroots community based.
Yeah, always.
Like it always does, doesn't it? Right? I think sometimes we so often, whenever we want to tackle something, we want it to be on this massive everything scale, when like actually the impact so much comes to just what is the immediate scenario around you, and I believe personally the journey that I've gone from like I want to save the planet to I want the people that live near me to learn more and care a little bit, and if that's if my next door neighbour doesn't know about wildlife, then why am I communicating to the world, or trying to reach people on the other side,
agree.
the country about it. You know, there's something in that, I think.
Yeah, I totally agree. If you start with your community and you go further from there.
Yeah.
And just on that point, so I live in kind of rural Shropshire in mid Wales. I'm right on the border, and the local
beautiful place.
Yeah, it's a lovely place. But the local farmers around by me, I've got really good connections with them, and there is that terrible split at the moment, and that do we talk about it, do we not talk about it? But there's people there, a local farmer who I know, who's reached out to me and said, where can I go to get this information? Because there are organisations, and I'm not going to name them out, but they are not that good at helping. Can I come to you? Can you come on the farm? Can you come and help me? And there needs to be a place for that. There needs to be an area where he can come to, and his family and other farms, to be able to reach that gap. And I'm not saying it's every farm. I'm saying there are a fair few. But it's those ones.
But they don't have that place to go.
This brings up something really interesting, which I've come across quite a lot recently. Like, we're quite happy to just communicate about wildlife, nature, the hard conservation issues. How comfortable do you feel when it is face to face? So when that communication is person in front of you is quite antagonistic, you've got different views, different backgrounds. Do you feel, is it as easy to have those conversations?
Yeah.
It's not easy, no, especially when they're angry. And as often is the case. Or they've got
it's anger, isn't it? Right. This is
but you have to kind of get to their level and think, if it's say a farmer that's angry because they need to make a living and they need to pay the bills, then relate to them. And for us, nature is our crop. That's what we're nourishing. Yeah. And for them, of course, they need the pollinators. And it's about sympathising, and because I've had, on a slight tangent, I used to work as a ranger, telling people to keep dogs on leads and stop disturbing ground nesting birds. And it's like straight in with aggression,
your job
confrontation.
Is conflict,
Yeah, very
but
much.
It's a kind of, I'd start by saying, well, we both love this place. Find something in common, and then get to them on their level, and then kind of try and make them see your point of view as a human being. And it's hard sometimes, but
it's so fascinating. These are I think, like you just said, conflict management. I think actually that's almost a description of what communicating conservation is in reality.
Yes,
we're talking about, we started talking about another side where you're talking about how to communicate to the public, but in real terms in the field, or when you're dealing with systems, a lot of it is conflict management, because everyone thinks they're right and we're all wrong at the same time.
Well,
and everyone's
I'm
different.
Actually right.
And on that note, Ajay, Ez, thank you so much for coming onto the show. It's been lovely to have you here and to have this little natter.
Keep communicating, right? And I think we forget there will be somebody that's met you at some point and you've changed their entire world because of... That's just fact. Like, you will have impacted somebody.
You got a wasp on your shoulder, and I was going to move it, but actually it looks quite chill.
Thanks, babe. I think we need to remember that the energy that we do put into the times when we meet people and have those conversations do change the world. And thank you for doing what you do.
Thank you so much for being on.
Thank you so much for having us.
Yeah, thank you so much. A pleasure.
A huge thanks again to Ez and Ajay for joining us at Global Birdfair in 2025. It's an absolute pleasure to have them on the show. We'll be back next week with Nature News Week 30, where we share news stories to do with nature, wildlife, conservation and community from around the world. We'll also be sharing our nature highlights that have hit us in the heart very recently. And if you've got a nature highlight that you want to share with us, a reminder to send it over to intothewildpod@gmail.com or DM us on Instagram @intothewildpodcast. And finally, if you'd like to support Into the Wild, our coffee.com link is in the write-up of this episode. All you got to do is head over to there and either make a one-off donation or sign up for a monthly subscription. But until next time, nerds, take care, look after yourself, and we'll see you next week for Nature News.